Hello, MonkeyDKaiba here, and I'm going to show you my updated Chaos Piper deck. I believe this one's a lot better than the one I used to run. So, start off, I'll show you, it runs with 3 Mystic Pipers, level 1. Tribute it to draw and reveal 1 card. If it's a level 1 monster, you can draw another card. You don't have to reveal the second card. 3 Effect Failures, level 1, Tuner. And of course, well, everyone knows what Effect Failure does. You know, you can negate an opponent's monster's effect during their main phase. 2 Kinkabios, Spirit Monster, level 1. When it's summoned, I can target a level 1 monster in my graveyard and special summon it. Usually I use it to pick Mystic Piper, but I can also use it with Effect Failure if I need a tuner on the field. You can use it and Effect Failure to tune to Formula Synchron, and then you have a Dark and a Light in the graveyard and bring out Chaos Sorcerer or BLS. 2 DD Crows, another hand trap, very useful because it stops my opponent's Pot of Avarice and Monster Reborn if he picks his own monster. Call the Haunted, stops quite a lot of things actually, and it's also quite useful for getting a Dark into the graveyard because I can activate it at any time assuming my opponent has a card in the graveyard. 3 Battle Faders. Apparently the most very annoying cards according to my friends. Whenever my opponent attacks me directly, I special summon it, and then my opponent's battle phase ends. I usually use this and tribute him to bring out Caius the Shadow Monarch. Again, level 1s, so it can be used with Piper. 1 Magical Merchant. I used to have 3, but it usually milled me out of cards, so I cut it down to 1. It's a flip effect. Basically you mill cards until you get a magic trap and then add it to your hand. So it's good for getting monsters in the graveyard. Crystal Seer, level 1. When it's flipped, pick up 2 cards from the top of your deck, add 1 to your hand and put another 1 at the bottom of the deck. Just a good all-round searcher, and it's a level 1. Treeborn Frog can be used with Caius, but also it's a level 1, so obviously that's why it goes in the deck. On to the more stronger monsters, 2 Tragodias and the Gores. Basically, a lot of the time my field's empty, so these come onto the field and just, you know, big strong monsters. But Tragodia especially, a lot of the time my hand size is really big because it has good hand control with the Pipers and the Kinkabios and all that. So I've had it up to 4200 a lot of times with Tragodia, and it's also Tragodia's got a couple of effects. It's really good as well. If I can use it to discard a monster and take control of my opponent's one if it's the same level, if they have a level 1, or I can use it with Gores. There's a lot of monsters I could use it with actually. 2 Chaos Sorcerers and a Blackluster Soldier. I think 2 Chaos Sorcerers is enough, and of course Blackluster Soldier is all the better. Obviously it's a Chaos deck, so remove Dark and Lights, or Dark and Light, summon these. Very good, very boss. My deck removes a lot of cards from play, as you'll have noticed. Also with these, the Caiuses. Tribute a monster to summon it, and when it's tribute summoned successfully, remove a card in the field. If it's a dark monster, your opponent loses 1000. Very good. Use it with the Battle Faders and Treeborn Frog. And finally, Dark Arm Dragon. It's quite a conditional card, but it's not so bad with my deck because if I have too many Darks in the graveyard, I can use Blackluster Soldier or Chaos Sorcerer to get them out, or Pot of Avarice. And if I don't have enough, I can just put DD Crows in if I have them. Again, with Magical Merchant, it also helps milling cards as well, so it's a very good card to have. On to the spells. I have Staples, Monster Reborn, Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, and Pot of Avarice as well in this deck, which is because a lot of monsters get into the graveyard. Admittedly, a lot of them get removed from play as well, but usually it's not so bad. I still tend to use Pot of Avarice a lot. Also, I use Mind Control and free creature swaps because, you know, level 1 monsters tend to be quite weak, so it's very useful to give them to my opponent in exchange for some of their stronger ones. Mind Control also I can use to take one of my opponent's monsters. Say if he has two and I really want to take control of one of them, I can use this to get the one I don't want, and then creature swap to give it back, and then I keep the one I want, or etc. But it's also very useful in this if my opponent has a Utopia, because I run Utopia Ray. I can just use this to get their Utopia and it becomes mine. On the traps, I have 2 Torrential Tributes, 2 Dimensional Prisons, because, well, like I said, removes a lot of cards from play. Removing a card from play really annoys opponents, because it's a lot harder to get them back. I also use 2 Magic Cylinders. It's kind of my preferable card, Magic Cylinders, because you know your opponent can have so many strong monsters these days, so easily summoned, and people never expect it, to be honest. And this card can win you the game on its own. 2 of them, of course, are very useful as well. You can only have 2 because they're semi-limited. I would run 3 if I could. On to the extra deck, I have, not in particular, Armory Arm, Cataster, Brionic, Black Rose, Stardust, Scrap Dragon, Thought Ruler Archfiend, Mistworm, Ally of Justice Decisive Armor. These are just good cards to have in any extra deck, I think. Specifically for this deck though, Formula Synchron, because it's so easy to summon. Just Effect Fielder in any level 1 monster. It's especially useful with Kinkabio, because like I said, it gets a dark and a light in the graveyard. Also use Arcanite Magician, because I can use Effect Fielder and Chaos Sorcerer to bring it out. It's a more of a conditional card, but it can be very useful because of the Chaos Sorcerers and Effect Fielders. I can use it. Shooting Star Dragon, because I have a Formula Synchron so easily summoned. I can use Mind Control or whatever, my opponent's Stardust, if he has one. I could also bring out my own Stardust, although that's a lot harder to do. It's generally good to have, I think. If you have a Formula Synchron, you should run it. Baby Terragon requires, it's a 3 level 1s. I haven't actually managed to use this yet, but there is one situation that it may win me the game, where it is, I can use its effect to target my Tragoria after I use its effect to make it level 1, and then Tragoria can attack directly. Tragoria can have, like I said, up to 4200 attack sometimes, so that could be very useful. Obviously Baby Terragon, you remove an XC to target a level 1 monster and it can attack directly. So, like I said, I haven't used it yet, but when that situation does come up, it will be very, very helpful. Utopia Ray, because I run Mind Control. I don't actually run Utopia, because I don't have any level 4s, but Utopia Ray's a good card to have if you have Mind Control in your deck. And last I have Insector Exabeetle, because I have a lot of level 6s, so it's quite a good card this. I have Caiuses and the Chaos Sorcerers, so level 6s I do have enough of. On to the side deck, I have 3 Mystical Space Typhoons, because there's a lot of cards out there that can destroy this deck, mainly Skill Drain, Macrocosmos, Imperial Iron Wall, so Mystical Space Typhoons are very, very important. I'm going against decks that can counter mine. I run 2 Gozen matches. Even though my deck's not all one attribute, it's still mostly either light or either dark, so it doesn't affect me too much, but it can really screw up a lot of other decks, like Wind-Ups for example. Return from the Different Dimension, because so many of my cards get removed from play. It can really, it could win you the deal, possibly, you know. Bring back your BLS, Chaos Sorcerers, anything that's been removed from play, for example, just bring it back. Or bring back all my level 1s and tune them or something. Very useful. 1 Chain Disappearance, because some decks that can really screw up. If I'm going against a Mirror, well, actually no. I'll get rid of my opponent's Treeborns if they have one. I can screw up Wind-Up Rat as well, or Wind-Up Magician if you're going against a Wind-Up deck.
Very good.
it can stop tour guys as well, good point. It won't stop rabbits, and it won't stop Mystic Pipers.
Check out the video for that.
2 Ojama Trios, because I don't know, they have their uses. You know, if I'm going against a deck that swarms a lot, you know, put these in.
Anti-spam.
Deck Devastation Virus, because I run a lot of darks that have more than 2,000 or more attack. Dark Arm, Chaos Sorcerer,
Tragodia can get up there.
Tragodia, Gores. I don't main deck it because, well, it's pointless in some decks. Some decks don't have monsters that are weak enough that this will be any useful. So, side deck. 2 Max C's. Again, I don't main deck these because sometimes you just don't go against enough decks that have special summons.
They're only good against wind-ups.
They're good against wind-ups too, yeah. I mean, you can there are decks out there that have a lot of special summons, but it's a lot more. They're not so good against decks that have inherent summons because you can't respond to them until after they're summoned. But they're still necessary in a side deck. And 3 Nickum Mane Kings, because they're level 1s, they work well with the Piper, and obviously these work very well against wind-ups. If they get their loop off, you can end their turn.
Or Dark Worlds.
And it also works with Dark Worlds. If my opponent uses Dark World dealings, you'll just discard it and their turn ends as well. I can really screw them up. So that's my deck.